Hey guys, welcome to day 1 of week 7 of biology. So today is going to be a test review day. So all I'm going to do is go over that test review worksheet that I gave you that was for a homework grade. I will not be accepting any late homework for this assignment because now I'm giving you the answers, so that kind of defeats the purpose. So that was due on Monday, so today at 9 a.m. So I'll be sure to put those grades in as soon as possible, and let's go ahead and get started. So you have a test tomorrow, Tuesday, May the 5th at 10:30 a.m. So be sure that you join the Zoom call. I'll have the Zoom invitation below this video and post it all over so that way there's no confusion. Remember, I do not do makeup tests or quizzes from here on out. If there's an emergency of some sort, I have to hear from your parent. I can't just hear from you. Otherwise, if you don't show up to the Zoom test, it will be a 0 for your test. So please be sure you set your alarms, you show up on time, and it will be good to go. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm just going to read off the answers to you guys from this biology test review sheet. Let me pull it up really quick. Another thing, May the 4th be with you. It's May the 4th, so happy Star Wars Day. I know that I am going to watch Rise of Skywalker tonight, so I'm very excited about it. So you should go and do the same thing. So another thing about this test is it is going to be all multiple choice. But something to remember is you should not just study your biology test review sheet. Definitely spend the bulk of your time studying that. But you need to make sure that you're actually going through your notes. So just studying your biology test review is not going to get you 100 on this test. So be sure that you are studying all over, okay? All right, so remember this test is going to be on arthropods and on ectothermic vertebrates. So let's start with arthropods. All right, so let's start with number 1. Insects can be used to solve murder through the subject of forensic entomology. So how I'm going to do this, I'm not going to really explain any of the questions or the answers. Unless you guys have specific questions, then you can text them to me. But really, this is a review of what I've already taught on. So if something's super unclear or you're hearing it for the first time, then that probably means you need to go back and watch a lecture video or go back to your notes. But of course, I'm more than willing to answer any questions you have. Just be sure that you text me today, 843-834-3333, okay? All right, which are the 3 major categories of arthropods? So we have chelicerates, crustaceans, and insects. Arthropods with 1 to 2 body sections that have claw-like appendages are known as chelicerates. And an example of a chelicerate is, the big example that we used was horseshoe crabs, which you need to know about horseshoe crabs. And we also talked about spiders. A lot of times people want to put spiders in the insect category, but they're actually chelicerates. So horseshoe crabs use their telsons to flip themselves back over. So it's that long tail that they use to flip back over. Arthropods with 5 pairs of walking legs and 2 sets of antennae are known as crustaceans. So lobsters, krill are classified as crustaceans, which I think is, yes, that's actually a question here. So lobsters use their flipper-like appendages to swim around, and that's known as their swimmerette. Krill are classified as crustaceans. The largest class within phylum Arthropoda is insects. The suffix ptera means wings. Chemical messengers or messages that affect behavior are known as pheromones. Which type of arthropod has no wings or antenna? So think about it. Think about chelicerates, crustaceans, and insects. Which one of those has no wings or antenna? Well, we know that most bugs have wings, and we know that crustaceans have antenna. So it has to be chelicerates. So think about a spider, think about horseshoe crabs when it comes to chelicerates. Which type of arthropod has 10 or more legs? All right, so this is from, it's really important. I didn't include every single one, but it's really important that you guys know that chart. It's at the bottom of your, it was the last slide that we talked about in the arthropods chapter, and it's that chart that has body sections, legs, wings, and antenna. So the one that has 10 or more legs is crustaceans. So that is something that you need to be very familiar with that chart because I could pull any question out of that chart, okay? It's really important that you're able to distinguish the 3 types of arthropods. So, all right. All arthropods are, well, they're all animals, but all arthropods are invertebrates. Remember, they're in the invertebrate category. All right, let's move on to ectothermic vertebrates. So all chordates share 4 characteristics. 4 characteristics. So they have a dorsal tubular nerve cord, they have a dorsal notochord, they have pharyngeal pouches, and they have a postanal tail. Remember, it's all multiple choice. So if I listed, like, let's say 5 different things that could be attributes of chordates, you would have to tell me which one is not. So which of the following is not an attribute of all four chordates? It's important that you understand that dorsal notochord is the beginning to the backbone, and also what the postanal tail actually is, which we talked about in lecture. All right, moving along. List the 5 groups of vertebrates. All right, we have fish, mammals, birds, amphibians, and reptiles. In any order, it doesn't matter. Ectothermic is also known as, remember ectothermic, they get their heat from the outside environment, so they are also known as cold-blooded animals. 3 groups of fishes. We have our cartifishes, or cartilaginous fishes. We have bony fishes, and we have jawless fish. So give an example of a cartifish. That could be sharks or rays. The largest predatory fish on Earth is a great white shark. What is the average size of a great white? That's going to be 15 to 20 feet, and it's going to weigh 2.5 tons or more. So all the examples that I give, the example animals, you are responsible to go back through and to know. Right. Bony fish have a blank blank, which is a gas-filled sac that helps keep bony fish buoyant. That is a swim bladder. Give an example of a bony fish. So the example I used was a spot-tailed bass, but if there's some type of other bony fish you want to use as an example, that's fine. Just be careful. Do your research beforehand, before the test, and make sure that you actually chose a bony fish. All right, what 3 things do other fish have that jawless fish don't? Well, that one's fairly easy. We know that they don't have jaws, and they don't have paired fins, so they don't have fins on either side of them, and they also don't have scales. Explain why countershading is important. Countershading is important because it's camouflage. My dog. It's camouflage. I'm not going to go into what countershading is, although you do need to know that, so be sure you have those definitions straight, but knowing why countershading is important. The answer to that is for camouflage. So, gas exchange in fish occurs in the gills. All right, what are the 3 orders of amphibians? So you need to know frogs, caecilians, salamanders, but you also need to be able to recognize the scientific names. So, Anura, Gymnophiona, Caudata. I might ask you which one matches to which, but be sure that you're able to pick out if there's one in there that doesn't belong as far as a scientific order name. You need to be able to pull that, okay? So, for example, if I were to say, which of the following is not in order of amphibians, and I had a list of scientific names, you would need to be able to point out which orders there are. So, remember, it's multiple choice, so that hopefully will make it easier that you just want to be able to recognize things. You don't necessarily need to spell it from memory. Amphibians use buccal pumping to move their air into the lower lungs. Again, I'm not going to describe what that is. You need to go look it up if you don't know it already. But it was in our lecture videos, so if I had a definition of what buccal pumping is, you would need to know that as well. So that's why, again, it's really important. This is a great highlighter of what's going to be on the test, but you actually have to have knowledge of what's going on in order to take this test review. So be sure you're familiar with the basic stuff too, and not just memorizing the answers that I give you. All right, briefly describe torpor, estivating, and hibernation. So torpor is going to be when an animal is going to slow down to conserve energy. So they have like physical inactivity during certain parts of the year. Estivating is when they do that for an extended period of time, and then hibernation is going to be when they actually go into a dormant state for the winter. All right, number 16, reptiles are amniots. Their unborn young are surrounded by amnion, so just like we are. Well, we're surrounded by amniotic fluid when we're in the womb. List the 4 orders of reptiles. Again, you need to be familiar with the scientific order names, but be sure you know turtles, lizards, and snakes are in one together. Crocodiles and tuateras. So we have testudines, squamata, crocodilia, rhynchocephalia. That one's a hard one to pronounce. All right, so just be sure that you are familiar with those and that you would be able to match. You know, turtles are in testudines. Lizards and snakes are in squamata, like being able to match the common name with the scientific name. Number 18, scales are produced by the epidermis, while scutes are produced by the dermis. Which ectothermic vertebrate have we studied has the most complex brain? Wait, which ectothermic vertebrate we have studied has the most complex brain? Okay, gotcha. The most complex brain is going to be reptiles. Let's see. Squamates use their tongue and Jacobson's organ in order to smell. Crocodiles are amazing mothers. Number 22, describe the difference in how alligator snapping turtles and common snapping turtles catch their prey. Remember, alligator snapping turtles, they actually have a organ in their mouth that wiggles around like a like a fish or like bait, and so the prey will actually go into the mouth of the alligator snapping turtle, so that way he can clamp down and eat his meal. Whereas common snapping turtles are actually going to be nomadic predators. So remember, that means that they're actually going to hunt around for their food. So they're going to go and try to catch their food. All right. Why does the green anole show off its dewlap? It's going to either do that to show its territory, or it's going to do that for a mate. What snake will most likely stand its ground if approached? That's going to be a cottonmouth. And alligators are ambush predators. They will stalk their prey and strike with no warning. Guys, one last thing before we go. Don't forget your test is Tuesday, May the 5th at 10:30 a.m. via Zoom. You must show up. I want to reiterate, if you have not watched my lecture videos and taken notes, and you are just watching this video and doing the test review, you will not do well on this test. So I cannot reiterate enough. Do not just study your test review sheet, because what I don't want to happen is for you to spend all night studying just your test review sheet and only watching this video, and then take the test tomorrow and not do well because you haven't been taking notes and you actually haven't been watching the lecture videos. So please be sure, don't wait last minute. If you haven't watched them already, get started now. You have a lot to catch up on. But I don't want anybody to do poorly on this test because they didn't study enough, or they didn't study their notes. So please be sure that you do that. Some people struggled with the test last time, while others killed the test last time. So, and I'm wondering if one of the problems maybe is that some people are watching the lecture videos and taking notes like we are in class, and other people aren't watching the lecture videos. But I know that there's a lot going on. Y'all have a lot of assignments. There's a lot of stress. So I know that that could be for a variety of reasons why some people are doing well and others not so great. But I just don't want that to happen again with this test. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I love you guys, and get to studying.